Hello and welcome to the first edition of Breakfast Show with the Press Review, and we are joined in the studio by Mr. Mohammad Sheta, media expert. Hello, sir, and welcome to Breakfast.
Thank you very much for having me. Very beautiful good morning to you and to your viewers. And please, if anybody is watching us right now, he should leave to work a little bit earlier because it's raining outside.
Or he will get stuck.
So the traffic is a little bit jammed and congested right now, and the roads are, of course, a little bit slippery as well.
Okay, let's start with the newspaper, and first we're going to begin with Al-Ahram newspaper, where President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi met with the visiting Jordanian King Abdullah II at the Ittihadiyya Palace, and they are discussing the two-state solution and the Israeli-Palestinian conflict as the national constant. King Abdullah arrived in Cairo on Tuesday on a important visit for talks with President al-Sisi. A statement by the presidency said the two leaders discussed mutual coordination to reach a two-state solution and establish a Palestinian state based on the 1967 borders, with East Jerusalem as a capital, which is a national constant that cannot be given up. So, Mr. Mohammed, why there is a kind of urgency to discuss the Palestinian cause now? Is it because the new administration of the U.S., Donald Trump, or there is other plans that Israel is hiding, so we have to discuss it again?
Well, there are probably a couple of reasons, actually, and as you just mentioned, it's not only an important, but it was also a very impromptu visit, which was not planned ahead. There are many rumors spreading around in the international media why this visit happened so quickly. Haaretz, for example, the Israeli newspaper, said that, or actually unveiled last week, that there was a secret meeting between John Kerry and Benjamin Netanyahu last year. In Aqaba, and also that there had been some discussions about the two-state solutions, and of course the fact that Donald Trump in his last press conference with Benjamin Netanyahu said some very confusing things. He said, well, I could think of a one-state solution. I could also think of a two-state solution, but you can do whatever you feel like, you know. So, so this shows that Donald Trump is also not very much into the issue. Like he just said those rumors about the incident or the terror attack which happened in Sweden and which actually never took place last week. So I think President al-Sisi and King Abdullah thought it would be necessary to sit down and discuss those very important issues, especially after Donald Trump mentioned a couple of times moving the U.S. embassy to Jerusalem. So I think it was mainly about the Jerusalem issue. Other rumors also said that there was a drone, Israeli drone which killed some ISIS members on the Sinai last week, and that this drone entered into the Egyptian airspace. So those are things which have been circulating around in the international media as well. So probably all these things together led to this very short notice visit of King
Benjamin
Abdullah.
Netanyahu was visiting the United States, of course, to have a meeting with Donald Trump with a two-state solution, as we've read.
Yes.
But he came back with only one-state solution.
I don't trust what Netanyahu is actually doing, because Netanyahu has also lots of problems internally between the different parties in the Knesset. So I think he's playing on two sides, on the international level as well as on the local level. He's also, of course, he's got some very radical theories and opinions, of course. So we should not really trust him that much and trust his government, actually. And this is why it's very important to have the U.S. Convinced with what is best for the peace in the whole region, and not only in the interest of Israel, but also for the interest in the interest for the Palestinians, and of course also for the neighboring countries like Egypt and Jordan.
Okay, and moving to Al-Ahram newspaper, where we read, in preparation for the German Chancellor Angela Merkel much anticipated visit to Egypt on March the 2nd, a number of high-profile German MPs arrived in Cairo this week. The Egyptian Parliament's press office announced that in a statement that Ali Abdel Al, the Speaker of the House of Representatives, met the German delegation led by a Deputy Speaker of the German Parliament on Tuesday. The pair discussed relations between Egypt and Germany in different fields and the possibility of creating a new common grounds between Egypt and Germany on a number of international and regional issues. The meeting was attended by the German ambassador to Egypt, the head of the Parliament's Foreign Relations Committee, Ahmed Said, and the head of the Human Rights Committee, Ali Abed. So, why there is a visit by the German Chancellor on next month, and why the MPs are coming, German MPs are coming to Egypt now? What's the significance of such a visit?
Well, first of all, we have to clear up some things. First of all, Johannes Zinghammer, he is a member of the German Parliament representing the CSU, which is the Christian Social Union, which is the partner party of Angela Merkel's CDU, the Christian Democratic Union. So they are definitely working quite closely together. We know that there had been some tensions between the CSU and the CDU during the past couple of months. So this is one thing. The second thing is Johannes Zinghammer has already talked in several German media that one of his main aims of coming to Egypt is talking about the refugee crisis in Germany and how Egypt could help Germany out of this problem, or Europe in general. And of course, it is well known to people following the German politics that Germany is considering to open refugee camps in Egypt, Tunisia, Algeria, and Morocco, where all these refugees would be sent back and in order to live in a safe country instead of coming to Europe, and that the EU and Germany would finance those refugee camps. So this is probably one of the main reasons why this visit took place right now, and also why the visit of Chancellor Angela Merkel is taking place during the next on the first week of March. The thing is that Angela Merkel is facing extreme pressure in Germany, and we should also not forget that the SPD representative Martin Schulz will be running for elections as well, and actually Martin Schulz and all the polls which took place during the past couple of days since he left the EU and went to Germany to prepare for his elections as the new chancellor for Germany, has all these polls have shown that he has succeeded actually and exceeded the popularity of Angela Merkel and her party CDU. So we are very likely to see a SPD governed German government in the next elections. This means that Angela Merkel might not be there for a long time. So also this has to be taken into consideration by the Egyptian government. Last but not least, the article was saying that they were discussing the relations between Egypt and Germany in different fields. I would prefer to read about concrete plans and concrete numbers. I want to. We always keep on saying, yeah, we're discussing this and we're discussing that and this and so on, and we're not really reading about anything really concrete. And I think it would have been good if the German embassy in Cairo, for example, would have made a press release distributed to all the English and also the Arabic-speaking media in Egypt, explaining exactly what Mr. Zinghammer is doing in Egypt, what the plan and what the purpose of the visit of Angela Merkel will be, and what the possible cooperation deals and contracts which will be discussed during this week, during those visits, the visit of Johannes Zinghama and also the upcoming visit of Angela Merkel. Because, like I said, we need to know what is the benefit. If they're just coming here to solve their refugee problem, then we should know this, you know. And then if they're really coming to assist us in the different sectors, we have lots of problems. For example, in the road safety sector, in the traffic sector, President Sisi was just talking last week and announced and said that we need to find a significant solution for the traffic problems in Egypt. I think Germany can help Egypt out in this matter. They have lots of experience and they have the latest technology. They have the latest safety technology.
Anyhow, we'll see what is the aim of the visit soon. And moving to El Masri Yom, where we read the Foreign Minister spokesman, Ambassador Ahmed Abu Zaid, said that Foreign Minister Sameh Shukri will head to Washington next Saturday in a 2-day official visit. During his visit, Shukri will meet a number of U.S. senior officials, including Secretary of State, and Ahmed Abu Zaid noted that Shukri will review Egypt's point of view regarding important regional issues, in addition to the ways to boost bilateral cooperation between Egypt and the United States. So why we have a visit soon by the Foreign Minister? I think this is the second or the third visit. So why he is going to the U.S. at the time?
Probably it's also evolving around the issues which President Sisi discussed with the King of Jordan, King Abdullah. And I think probably also he might be preparing for a meeting between President Sisi and Donald Trump in order to discuss not only the bilateral issues between Egypt and the United States and the cooperation possibilities, but also to discuss more or less the Middle East crisis. And I think this is why we see him visiting the United States so often, because things are really getting out of hands in the Middle East region. The settlements plans which the Israeli government currently is undertaking are not very promising, and I think they're leading into a dead end. So it's about time that the United States should really take a standpoint and tell Israel that this is not acceptable anymore.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm moving to Al Ahram online, where we read a conference of the heads of Africa's Supreme Constitutional Courts concluded Tuesday in Cairo and was attended by judges from 23 African nations. The conference, the first of its kind, was inaugurated on Monday by Prime Minister Sharif Ismail. The attendees discussed sharing expertise in constitutional and judiciary means to bolster cooperation between the Supreme Courts in Africa and training sessions for judges. The court representatives are expected to sign a number of cooperation protocols. In his inaugural speech, Ismail said that the conference enforced commitment to the independence of law and respect of rights and freedoms in Africa. 8 heads of African constitutional courts arrived Sunday in Cairo from Sudan, Ghana, Somalia, Mauritania, Benin, Burkina Faso, Angola, and Comoro Islands, in addition to 2 deputy heads of Malawi and the Democratic Republic of Congo, who arrived on an official visit to Egypt. So how do you see such conference, and why it is important, and why it took place in Egypt?
I think the fact that Egypt is hosting this conference shows that Egypt is reaching out to all the African countries in order to strengthen the relationship between those countries and Egypt. And of course, in the European media and in Europe in general, or in the Western world, the reputation of the African courts is not maybe the best. I mean, they talk a lot about corruption and things like that. So maybe this will help to improve the reputation of the courts, of the African courts in general, by such a conference. So it's a good thing.
Mm-hmm. I'm moving to El Wafd newspaper, where we read the Barcelona and Argentina football legend Messi arrived in Cairo on Tuesday to promote the country's tour in Cure Medical Tourism campaign and paid a visit to the Giza pyramids. Messi named the world's best player for a record 5 times to the pyramids of Giza, a wonder of the ancient world, shortly after landing in Cairo. He was welcomed by renowned Egyptologist who said he told that 29-year-old about the secrets of the pyramid. Egypt has gained global recognition for fighting hepatitis C, with the World Health Organization celebrating World Hepatitis C Day in Cairo in 2015. There was a big
fuss.
Yeah.
Well,
a big fuss.
yes.
About the visit of Messi to Cairo. Why?
Let's start with the positive things. First of all,
Yeah.
of course, it's good that Messi came to Egypt, and that we had the pleasure of him posting some pictures on his social media outlets. But this is the good thing. The bad thing was that I think we are overrating the visit a little bit, and we're giving it too much weight. If you think about the European and the Western tourists, they will not come to Egypt because Messi took a picture in front of the pyramids. They have totally different calculations. You know, they want to, first of all, they see where do I get more value for my money, for my family when we go like 4 persons and go to Egypt. Where will we go? First of all, most of the tourists don't. I mean, during the past couple of years, most of them went to the Red Sea, so probably those tourists will not be very impressed when Lionel Messi went to the pyramids. The other thing is there was so much criticism about this trip and the organization of the event. I saw the event yesterday. I was just on the way here to the Maspiro studio. I was listening to the radio presenter Khaled Habib, who's extremely popular, and he was also criticizing the whole thing, and that if you have such a big event, you should get a professional company to organize, a professional travel agency to organize the trip. You should get a professional PR agency to do the PR for this thing. And apparently, so many things went wrong. Of course, this trip has been delayed twice, but this is not the issue. The issue is we need sustainable tourism promotion. And I think definitely it helps when a celebrity comes to Egypt, but we should not base our tourism attraction on such things. We need to have good locations. We need to have a good service for tourists, you know. And I was watching the coverage of this trip, and we should not exaggerate. You know, one of the presenters one of the presenters of the TV channel who were hosting the event said that 25 international TV channels were covering this live. This is nonsense. Of course, there weren't 25 TV channels covering this live. They don't even do this with even more important things, you know. So definitely all the TV channels and all the sports related news outlets, they will cover this issue. But we should not base.
But they will not be overreacting like we did here with the private channels that made a big propaganda for Messi. Of course, he's welcome in Egypt, and whoever wants to come to Egypt, he's welcome. Messi is a famous football player, and he's loved by everybody around the world. But we are criticizing the private media and what they are saying. Mr. Mohammad Sheta, thank you very much for joining us today. And
thank you for having me.
One more time.
My pleasure, like always.
And now we are moving to a quick break, so please stay tuned.